Hey there, as promised, this is part 2 to my previous video. If you didn't see that, check it out. It's the one I uploaded just before this. I actually just shot that. I'm going to go ahead and just shoot a separate one here. This is the review once everything's installed. So if you watched the last video, I did some install tips. Well, actually it's disassembly tips, but got all that done in an hour, very quick, and then put the new one in here. It took me 12-13 minutes to get it in, and then just get everything put back together, maybe 15 minutes altogether. Very easy process. Just follow the instructions I gave in the first video backwards, and you'll have it in. Great mod. I'll start with the only disadvantage is that reverse, as I mentioned in the last video. Reverse was already pretty tough, and now that's reverse. So there is just hardly, there is no slop here at all. And because of that, the gate from first to reverse is just, it is so small. Before you could really feel it. Now you can, but just that's it right there. Just barely. And it does take some effort, which is why I went with the 50%, not the 60% reduction, because the more reduction you get, the more force it takes to go into each gear. So not a big deal though. This is totally worth it. This is a $190 modification. You get $60 refund on the core, so that's $130 plus shipping the core back, which is probably 20 bucks. So $150, and you get an entire new mechanism. Again, check out my video before this one to see that. But yeah, this is great, guys. This is just really great. It's super solid. There is like no play. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the 50% reduction really makes a difference on this car, because it was pretty long gates before. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And the only thing I'll say, also just a little tip, when you install this, if anybody ever installs these, they probably don't. Behind the 2 bolts here, there's 4 bolts that hold it in. They're 15 mils. There's 2 up here and 2 back here. Behind these 2 bolts, I noticed when I was shifting, before I put all the, always test it before you put your trim back on. So before I put my trim back on, I noticed when I was shifting through the gates that there was a little bit of a tink, 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 like a little metal on metal sound. And what I discovered was that the metal from the shift mechanism was actually just barely tapping the frame of the car where it bolted into. So I just took a piece of all-weather mat that I had laying around, like some weather stripping, and tucked several pieces under there, and that took care of it. So it's nice and quiet now. But yeah, great mod, cheap. It's very little for a handmade piece. And I'll show you the stock piece just for comparison. Of course, this does not have the cables attached to it, but you'll still get an idea. And what I was talking about there was this right here. Just here where this hits the frame of the car in the version I just showed you, there's just a little bit of metal sound. Again, it was really subtle, but I wanted to get rid of that, so I stuffed some thick piece of rubber molding under there and took care of it. But this is the stock piece here. And again, this won't be a direct comparison, but this pretty much took, took all that. That's how long the shift was before, which if you have a PT Cruiser, that's one of the first things you notice is, goodness, that's a long, it's almost like a truck. So ka-chunk, that's the before. Now it's boom, boom. So it's about 50% before and after. One more time, before and after. So 50% reduction, very nice modification. Highly recommend it. Maddog, find him, just search Maddog short throw shifter. His name is Chuck, great guy. Good price, very well made piece. I showed it in my last video. And go get one. All right, thanks for watching. God bless you. PT Cruiser short shifter.